Brad DeRoche. Welcome to my series on sight reading. This is lesson number 11. In today's lesson, we're going to combine the notes in the low and the middle registers, and we're going to focus on learning music notation, so how the notes are written. Today is one of the first times we're going to actually try to find written notes in two different places. And this is where the challenge lies for most guitarists, is kind of how to step out of that low register and be comfortable finding the notes in different places. And so that's the focus of the lesson, and when you complete today's lesson, you should feel pretty comfortable with that. So here's how I think it's best to do that. First off, what I would do is I would take all of the notes in the low register and the notes in the middle register. So if you're looking at this sheet that we've used most of the time here, it's all of the notes in the low register plus these three notes on the first string in the middle register. The ones down here are all going to be found in the low register also, so we don't even need to worry about those. So we need these 17 notes plus 3 more up here, total of 20 notes that I pulled from my series of index cards that we made the other day. So what I do here, there's basically 3 different things that I would do that would help you to learn the notes on the guitar really quickly. First off, just shuffle the deck so that you have any kind of random order here, and then whatever note you pull up, you play it in both registers whenever possible. So the first note I pulled up was a low E, 6th string open. That's only playable in one place, so I put that one aside. The next note I pulled up was high E, and that high E can be played in 2 places. Now, it can be played 1st string open and also on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So your goal is to now find that note in both registers. Does that make sense? Hopefully so. So most of these pitches are going to be found in 2 places, a low register and a middle register location. So then I'm just going to keep going. The next note happened to be F. So there's F in low register, F in the middle register. And you just go through and you shuffle your deck until you've gone through all of the notes. The next one happens to be G. So I would play G. You can start with whatever register. I'm starting with the low register, but I would play the G first in the low register and then in the middle register. Okay, do you get the idea? So again, we're just trying to find each of these notes in both registers. And when you just select them randomly like this, it really makes you think, where are those notes? So that's the first step. Do that until you feel pretty comfortable going through this deck a few times. Then what I would do next is I would take a group of, let's say, I already used those notes. So let's say I'm going to take 3 notes. So I just picked the next 3 cards here. They were G, low B, and a low G. Now that's not actually a very good sampling. Let me do a different one here just because, just to shuffle it up a little bit more. So I'm going to throw in this A here. So the notes I have are low B, a G, and an A. And I'm just going to put those into some kind of order. Okay, so it's going to be A, low B, and G. And I'm going to play them as if it's some kind of little melody. So it started with the A. I'm going to start with the lowest register first, A, then the low B, and then the G. Now I'm going to take them up to the next register. So it's going to start with A, the low B, and the G. So what I'm doing here is I'm upping the challenge a little bit by selecting a couple of notes. You could do 2 notes, 3 notes, maybe 4. I wouldn't go much further than that. We have melodies that we'll look at later if you want something more complex. But by using only a couple of notes, we can play with that little group a few times. Maybe you shuffle those 3 cards up 2 or 3 times and read it until you get really comfortable looking at those notes. All right, so that's the second project for today. So the first one was just a single note you've played in both registers. The second project is to play a group of 2 or 3 notes and play those in both registers. And I would just stick with one register at a time when you're doing those. Like in this example, it was A, B, G. I played all the notes in this low register first, and then I played them A, B, G in the middle register next. Rather than going something like this, A, B, G. You could do that too, but I'm going to try to keep it all in one register for now. All right. Then lastly, what I would do is I would go back to the 3-note groupings like we have on our master sheet here, and I would take a 3-note grouping. My finger sort of landed here. So let's take the D, E, F grouping, and then you have to locate those notes in your index cards here. You take those pitches and you're going to put those into a little grouping, just like what we did with the random notes before. And there's my E, there's my F. I'm just looking for the D. And once I can find that, which might take another 15 minutes, hopefully you have time to sit and wade through these. There it is. Okay, so now I have my D, E, F grouping. So D, E, and F. So I'm going to take that grouping from the low register and I'm going to play it in just some random order. Shuffle these ones up however they land. Okay, it's going to be E, D, F. That's how they landed for me. So I'm going to play them E, D, F. Then I have to play them in the next register also. E, D, F, E, D, F. So we're working with little groupings that we know are all in one on the same string. So basically, I did this in 3 different ways. We did, just going back to front, we did the groupings of notes on one string, so the 3 notes in one string in one register. We did that, just shuffled those around and played those. Then we did individual notes, where we could bounce around to the 2 different registers with a single note, and you just shuffle the whole pack at that point. And then we also did a group of 2, 3, or 4 notes, randomly shuffled and selected, and we just found those in each of the different registers. So it's just trying to mix up all the notes that we have in these 2 registers and find them in both places. All right, so that's your task for today. Try that and see where that leads you. I bet you'll start finding these notes a lot faster after you do this a couple of times. All right, that's it for today. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next lesson. Cheers.